What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Blazers Uprise Live here on a Wednesday night. The Blazers' only game this week is a heartbreaker, Eric, as they lose in overtime to the Sacramento Kings, 121 to 118. As Jeremy Grant cannot carry this team to a victory, they lose despite Grant having 38 points and 9 rebounds. That's a lot of rebounds for Jeremy Grant. Unfortunately, despite Jeremy Grant rebounding better than you would ever expect Jeremy Grant to rebound, the Blazers still give up 15 offensive rebounds, including some back-breaking ones in overtime, commit some silly fouls on their way to this loss, but also have some good moments considering they lost Malcolm Brogdon early on in this game to a hamstring strain. So another Blazer goes down. The injury bug is just always has to absolutely crush this team for whatever reason. And it was a hard-fought game. Good moments from Ayton, good moments from Grant, good moments from Sharp, good moments from Skylar Mays even. We saw Justin Minaya minutes tonight. So, this game sucks to lose like this, and there's a lot of ways that the Blazers could have won this game that they didn't pull through. But also, considering the context, competitive game. Eric, how's things going, and what are your thoughts on this game?
Frustrated with another injury. Just you feel for the Blazers tonight because, like you said, they poured their hearts into this game. Everything went against them seemingly. They're already down several players, and then Brogdon gets hurt right at the beginning of the game. And then Sharp fouls out at the end of the fourth quarter, so we didn't have him for overtime as well. So that was tough. You'd think we didn't have enough firepower to get it done. Somehow they hung around and gave themselves a chance. So yeah, I was proud of the effort. Thought they played hard. So unfortunately, wasn't enough.
Yeah, man. Just an interesting game all around. There's some wild moments in this game, some wild loose balls. The rebounding is really the most frustrating thing in this one, given that the Blazers give up 15 offensive rebounds, and the Blazers have rebounded the ball decently all year long. But Sabonis absolutely crushed on the offensive glass. 7 offensive rebounds for him, and he almost had a triple-double. 27 points, 11 rebounds, 9 assists for Sabonis, who stepped up without De'Aaron Fox. And this is a Kings team that has been bad without De'Aaron Fox. They just got blown out twice in a row against the Houston Rockets, of all teams. And they looked bad at times tonight, Keegan Murray has been awful without Fox, and he was awful tonight. 4 for 17 shooting for him. Kevin Huerter, 5 for 13, 4 for 9 from 3. Solid game, I guess, but nothing to write home about. I mean, they're at the point they were starting Keon Ellis and playing him 21 minutes today, and he only made 1 field goal. They're playing Kessler Edwards, Alex Len. Chris Duarte played 11 minutes in this game.
Alex Len cooked us, though.
Yeah, 4 for 4, 10 points in 13 minutes, 3 offensive rebounds. Yeah, much like Mo Wagner and Zubac has cooked us. It's another role-playing center that cooked us. And 15 offensive rebounds for the Kings, 7 for the Blazers. I mean, that's the difference right there in a game that goes into overtime and the Blazers lose by 3.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the first game that I felt like rebounding was an absolute problem. I think they had over 20 second chance points. So including that one, we're down 1. We force Malik into a tough runner. Ball comes off the rim really high, and Sabonis is able to tap it out. And we have to foul from there. And that was pretty much the game when we couldn't secure that rebound. Fortunately, that was pretty much the theme of the night on that end. You're muted.
Gotta get the hustle boards. I thought Ayton at times wasn't going after rebounds hard enough, which it's kind of hard to sit here and complain about his rebounding, given that rebounding-wise he's been great all season long. But there was a couple, including one late, where I just felt like he wasn't going after the ball aggressively enough, and he had a solid game, 18 and 10, right? That's basically right in line with his averages last year, 2 assists, 9 for 14 from the field, and he got clutch late, which was cool to see him knock down some mid-range jumpers.
My daughter says she works in
be a little
B2B where she's...
I keep getting ESPN ads. I literally muted this already. Good to see him have some clutch moments, but overall, I think rebounding-wise, the guards didn't help out the Blazers enough. Like, I thought Ayton, there was times where Sabonis just kind of abused him on the glass. Also, a big problem in this game was switching and ending up with guards trying to box out Domantas Sabonis, which you're just basically giving offensive rebounds to the Kings at that point. So there were definitely things that went wrong in this game where it's like, man, just clean up one of these areas and that's a win. And the Blazers are 4-4 and have 4 days off, and that would have been felt real nice, especially given that another guard goes down in Malcolm Brogdon, who started off this game. Well, he had 5 points in the first 5 minutes and an assist and a board, hit a 3, and then he ends up going out with an injury. So just like, this is one of those games where you can't be too mad at the loss, but at the same time, it sucks, you know?
Yeah, in regards to Ayton, I thought Chauncey missed a golden opportunity. Like, I know the play wasn't for Skylar Mays to take a step back 3 or a sidestep 3
man,
at the end of the fourth quarter. But, man, how much confidence could you get in Ayton coming off the game he was having if he hits a game-winning shot there, you know? I thought that was the perfect opportunity to give Ayton the ball there, and I think he would have been set for the rest of the season based off that one play if he makes that. So I felt like that was a missed opportunity. And then to not go to him at all, I know he took one shot like at the end of a shot clock when he got the ball in overtime, but I think that was his only time he even touched the ball in overtime was one shot attempt. So I felt like with the players we were missing and Jeremy getting obviously hounded and focused on defense, that we should have given him a post touch or some sort of action with him going to the rim, because we had some effective lobs to him this game. So yeah, I was kind of disappointed that we didn't go to him without Sharp in the overtime at all, and felt like that was a missed opportunity.
Yeah, unfortunately, just, you know, he got going in the flow of things. They were late. The ball found its way to him. I don't think it was even a designed play at any point. You know, Tamani had a cut, I think it was, and then had a shovel pass to DA, hit a mid-range, you know. And that's the thing with DA is, like, he's not necessarily, and this is what I've been saying, he's not necessarily the guy that you give the ball to and say, go get a shot. He's the guy that can capitalize on the ball finding him. But given who you're missing, like, you might as well just run stuff through him.
Yeah.
See if you can get Sabonis in foul trouble. I thought they definitely missed an opportunity. But, you know, it's on, if you're going to get the Sabonis in foul trouble guarding the low post, you got to be aggressive too. And, you know, Ayton, as we've said, is more of a mid-range finesse guy, not somebody that's going to, like, attack the basket strong or anything like that. But the mid-range was going tonight. You know, he started off struggling from the mid-range. I think missed like his first 2 or 3, but then got in a rhythm and was cashing in late. So definitely could have, you know, tried to design something for him, especially in that overtime where the Blazers don't have Sharp, don't have Brogdon, don't have Ant, don't have Scoot. Like, 7 points in 5 minutes in overtime is not good.
There was so they were running this action where they didn't just want Ayton to come up and screen, so they were sending Tamani to screen Ayton to get more space so Ayton could come out a little cleaner to set the pick on ball. But there were like multiple times, at least 4, where the defenders caught on and were playing way out, and Tamani and DA were wide open under the hoop. All the guard would have had to do, or Jeremy, if he had the ball, was lob it up to DA at the hoop, and he would have had an easy dunk. And they missed it like so many times because they were just waiting for him to come up for the pick and roll. But yeah, they did throw one of them to Tamani. Unfortunately, it was more of a line drive pass instead of a lob, because he probably could have finished that too. And that's when he turned around and got the ball stripped. But yeah, just unfortunately, the last 4 possessions of the fourth quarter, we have Jeremy lose the ball out of bounds on kind of a chaotic broken play. We have Sharp step out of bounds on the sideline when he was either open for a 3 or I think Grant kicked him out kicked it out to him, but whoever it was had Tamani cutting baseline wide open too. Missed that one. And then next possession, Skyler goes into traffic and gets blocked trying to take it like 1-on-3. And then, of course, the final possession is a Skyler sidestep three. That's not a good look in that situation. So yeah, it's just unfortunately that's 4 straight possessions with poor execution down the stretch, and we probably lost the game there in the fourth.
Yeah. Didn't make timely plays, and just looking at the percentages in this game, like over 55% from 2, 36% from 3, which is a good 3-point shooting night for us, and we get to the line 29 times. Like, it's really hard to, just in the big picture of the entire game, especially with who we had out, like, this was a really good offensive game for us, all things considering. Skylar Mays, 8 for 15. Grant was on fire all game long, 8 and 9 for 14. Like, Sharp didn't have his best game shooting-wise, 5 for 14. But, like, still, we have an efficient scoring night. Moses Brown, 2 for 3. Tamani Jabari, 1 for 2. Like, everybody shot 50% other than Chris Murray, who was 0 for 1, and Shaden Sharp, who was 5 for 14, because you had Brogdon 2 for 3 before he subbed out, Thibault 4 for 8. So just like shooting numbers wise, like, this is a really efficient night for us. And especially when you compare him to Sacramento, who shoots 29.7% from 3. They're 11 for 37, meaning from 2 they were 30 for 52. Which is, let me make sure I did that math right. Yeah, 30 for 52, which is, 57.6%. They got to the free throw line 38 times, so that was definitely a struggle, but 46% from the field, roughly 30% from 3. Like, those are okay shooting percentages to hold the Kings to. I mean, literally just everything in this game to me goes back to, we give up 15 offensive rebounds, we had 7. That's basically gifting them 8 extra possessions. And it's really hard to beat a team when you're shorthanded, when you don't have the shot creation, and you're gifting them 8 extra possessions. Because right now we're hurt at the guard spot, and then of course we don't have Robert Williams. We still should be able to control the boards because the Kings aren't a big team. They got Alex Len and Domantas Sabonis are their only legitimate bigs. Everybody else is like, their next biggest guy is maybe Harrison Barnes, Keegan Murray, right? It's not like they have guys that are great offensive rebounders beyond Sabonis. So should be able to control the glass. It's just got ourselves in trouble all game long, switching bigs out onto guards when we didn't need to, and then that big wasn't around the rim. I thought Ayton could have given better effort at a couple times on the defensive glass where he just needs to go pursue the ball. It's just crazy to me that Grant has the rebounding game that he does, and we're giving up that many offensive rebounds.
Yeah, well, how many fast break points do we have? Like 10? 9 or 10? Do you have that in front of you?
We had 9. We had 9. They had 18.
So here's what my thinking is. If you're giving up a lot of offensive rebounds, it should be because you're leaking out. You're having someone leak out, and you're not crashing the defensive boards. So you're expecting Ayton or whoever the center is to get the rebound and outlet it so you can go on a fast break. But if we're not running, there's no excuse for all 5 players to not crash the boards and try to control them. So the fact that we're not getting out on the break, not getting many points that way, while also giving up all these offensive rebounds is troubling, because that means there's some sort of disconnect between all 5 guys, what they're supposed to do when a shot goes up, and it's not resulting in any positive actions by not having all 5 crash to the boards. And so you could trade off, like if you were giving up some offensive rebounds, but you were also getting a couple cheap baskets because you were running, like I could live with that. But we're not doing either of those, and that's a problem for me.
Yep. Oh, man. So Brogdon, I don't know how long he's going to be out for. I think it's going to be some time. I mean, hamstring strains, you normally, if you're going to end up missing the rest of an entire game because of a hamstring strain, like that's something that needs time to heal. So we'll see what this rotation looks like going forwards. I mean, Skylar Mays stepped up, man. Played 37 minutes tonight, 11 assists, 18. I muted this ESPN ads so many times. What in the world? Skylar Mays, 8 for 15, 18 points, 11 assists in 37 minutes. 3 turnovers for his 11 assists, had a couple of steals. Defensively, I thought he, wasn't horrible. For a two-way guard, like, that's all you can ask for a guy stepping up, and that's why I like Skylar Mays as that third-string point guard. Like, we saw him last year at the end of last season just kind of tear things up, and it was, for a tanking team, but he showed that he can play. And, his finishing is extremely impressive. He had some very impressive finishes in this one, especially with his offhand, his left hand. One was an offhand backhand layup, one was a little scoop shot. Had a really good contact finish in this one as well. Like, I was just really impressed with how he finished. And in 37 minutes, he only shoots 2 threes, doesn't make a single one. And it's not like he's a big bullying guard or anything. So for him to go 8 for 13 inside the arc and attack the way he was, I was very impressed. He might be the starter for now.
I mean, we don't really have many options. So, yeah, he's going to use up his eligibility really fast.
Yeah. I mean, Rip City Remix, he ain't going to be down there with them when they start playing. Kevin Knox also is gone. He's back with Detroit.
Our MVP is gone.
Yep. So it was funny because we just talked about Kevin Knox too. Like, who knows? He might sign with another NBA team is what I said. I think that was the last post-game show and didn't really expect it to happen literally right after that. But yeah, Kevin Knox is gone. So Remix might be in for a tough time. They also traded, what was his name? Michael DeVoe. So, the Summer League hero himself. But Skylar Mays, man, impressive. He might get an opportunity to start in games that aren't tanking games. So good for him, I guess, because he can certainly play and had good minutes tonight.
Yeah, it's like people mentioned in chat, it's just weird feeling to not have enough guards. I mean, I know there were times where Dame and Ant were hurt at the same time last year, and so we were a little thin. But it sucks. Brogdon, Scoot, Ant all hurt at the same time now. Just gotta really hope that Scoots was just precautionary today to give him an extra 4 days to rest, and that he's ready to go on Sunday. If he doesn't play Sunday, it's going to be kind of worrisome.
Why is that?
Just because, I don't know. They showed him, not this game, but the prior game, warming up ahead of time. He looked fine. It's just, I understand why they sat him out this game. I'm not saying panic, Trevin. I'm just saying, it'd just be kind of weird if they didn't play him this game to give him some extra days of rest, and then he doesn't play on Sunday.
Yeah. At the same time, ankles can be tricky, so
I think he's been fine for a few days. They're just trying to be extra cautious with him.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he hasn't been. Maybe he's not 100% yet, And that final 10 to 15% can be tricky because, bro, I sprained my ankle about 2 months ago, and I still haven't gotten 100% yet. Like, that 10% for me is still missing. Now, mine was a lot worse. Like, I couldn't walk for a week. But the last 2-3 weeks, it hasn't gotten any better. Yeah. It hasn't gotten any better for me. So I'm sitting here okay, well, in my personal experience, that final 10%, 15%, it's just not coming, is for me. So I kind of look at it like maybe that's a similar situation where he's comfortable enough to do stuff in warm-ups, do stuff on the court, but he's waiting until it's 100%. It's not 100% yet. And, that might take a little bit of time. So it's not something you want to see where he misses next game. Hopefully he is 100% and good to go, and this was just because they don't play for another 4 days, so they just wanted to get him that extra rest. But I'm not going to worry too much if he doesn't play next game. I'm not going to worry too much because I think ankles can be a bit tricky. So if it's an extended period of time or we hear he's out for another 2 weeks or something like that, then you have to wonder truly what's going on. But I'm going to try not to worry too much about it.
Yeah. So they can't, you can't do 10 days yet. So They still have an open roster spot though, right? They only have 14.
The Blazers?
Yeah, and they're enough
Yeah.
under the tax to where they could. So maybe the move at some point is they're going to have to sign Skylar to an actual contract so he doesn't run out of days and just they don't have to worry about that anymore. And then they can
I
sign.
mean, he has what, 50 days or 50 games?
50 games, yeah.
I mean, by that time, Brogdon and Scoot should be back.
Yeah, but
I'm just gonna worry about that then.
yeah,
I think they'll wait.
Well, you could get some more depth though, like if you sign him to the roster and then you could sign someone else to a two-way. Whether that's another big or whatever, just to have an extra body.
I mean, you know how complex Chauncey's offense is with guys who are here for a whole training camp. So, are they going to have confidence in bringing in a guard midseason and teaching them this super complex offensive system that Chauncey runs? Like, in actuality, it wouldn't be hard for a guard to come in here and run some horns and make some basic reads, which is basically what this offense is right now anyway. But given the way they talk about their offense, like, I don't know.
Did you see Aiton and I think Thibault and there was one other person like at that timeout with at the end of the fourth quarter? They kept asking Chauncey Chauncey was drawing stuff up. Like two of the players were already on the court and Chauncey was still like explaining the play to some of them. And yeah, it was obvious why it was kind of discombobulated. But yeah, it's just I don't know. Like to me, it doesn't seem that complicated to draw up a play and have NBA players execute like an out of bounds play at the end of a game.
Well, here's the thing: is you should have situationally practiced that by this point.
Yeah,
you should have practiced that in training camp. Where like, okay, this situation, we need a 3, final 10 seconds, right? This is what we're gonna run.
I'm guessing when they ran those in practice, Skylar wasn't really the point guard, or like.
Yeah, but he was there, I
know.
So I don't know, like you practice situational basketball in practice, and then you draw it up, but you don't want to draw something up that players have no idea of the timing of, like when screens are supposed to be, when cuts are supposed to be, etc. So I've never been a huge fan of like just drawing up a completely brand new play in the final 10 seconds of a game when you need a 3 and then expecting these players to execute it when defenders are going to be physical as they've been all game, when the refs are going to probably let more go than they've let all game because it's the final 10 seconds. So I've never been a true fan of just drawing up something completely brand new. So I don't know if it was something completely brand new or something they worked on that, was still new to them or what. The play was kind of weird though. Like Grant comes off baseline, shoots a turnaround 3. I mean, at that point, like you shoot that shot. I mean, what'd you think of Grant's shots at the end?
I mean, they were fine. I thought, it wasn't a bad look that he got the first one. Maybe Thibault should have shot the kick out on the second one. But I mean, he got one, moving in towards the basket.
Yeah.
It was fairly online. I don't know. I mean, I'm considering the players that were on the court at the time. I don't mind that at all.
Yeah, I didn't mind it at all. And you're still giving yourself a chance for an offensive rebound. Props to Tamani for tracking that down. Tamani had some big plays down the stretch, a couple of huge steals, an offensive board. It looked like he might be out for the game, and then he came back and played some big minutes for the Blazers. 3 steals in this game, 4 boards, 2 points. I mean, this team is better with him on the court. It's getting really hard to argue against it. In his 25 minutes, Eric, he's a +7. That's tied for the lead on this team. He's a +7. And it's not like he's sitting here playing all his minutes with Jeremy Grant, who was cooking, or DeAndre Ayton, who was 9 for 14 today. Like, he's coming off the bench. Some of his minutes came in with him. And the thing is, when you look at plus-minus for one game, like, it's going to be more of a product of who's on the court because it's, a small sample that's subjective to, like, oh, are you in while one of your teammates goes off this game? That's obviously going to help your plus-minus. But when you get a larger and larger sample, it's actually more meaningful when looking at a specific player with it, because it's such a large sample of minutes where it's just like there's, say all 8 games, this team is statistically better, statistically outscored their opponent when Tamani Kamara is on the floor. I mean, that's harder to argue against than just the randomness of a smaller sample size. At this point, statistically, Tamani Kamara is, I believe, in 4 of the Blazers' best 5-man lineups. And today, I mean, it's not like he's doing anything super impressive offensively, but defensively, he is their best perimeter defender right now. He is their most versatile defender right now. Offensively, he makes the right play. He doesn't force too much. Had 3 steals in this game, some big-time moments. Big offensive rebound that could have tied the game because he went and chased down an offensive board on Jeremy Grant's first missed 3. He's just a guy that does the little things and plays some freaking defense, and that's why he's so beneficial for this team.
Yeah, Tamani's been, I mean, as good as we could have hoped for. The only thing I was kind of like hoping at some point in this game, once, especially when Sharp fouled out and Brogdon's out, like, be aggressive, man. Like, I want to see him like take it to the hoop, and he's had a couple of nice and ones in previous games. He's had some tough finishes. Like, we kind of needed someone to just step up and make a play, scoring the ball in that overtime. So every time he got the ball, it was like, take it to the hoop. But fortunately, he was looking to kick out or get the ball back to Jeremy pretty fast in this one. But yeah, I thought he played pretty well.
Yeah. It's interesting that Mania got minutes over Rupert.
Yeah.
Didn't really expect Mania to play even after the injuries. I think going forward, if this is the lineup, you have, an 8-man rotation of Grant, Ayton, Thibault, Sharp, Skylar Mays, with Kamara, Walker, and maybe some Chris Murray / Moses Brown sprinkled in. But I think it was interesting that Chauncey felt that he wanted to turn to Justin Mania. I mean, offensively, he's kind of a non-factor, but he's a guy that'll hustle and play a little bit of defense.
But you can't get that from Repair.
Yeah, exactly. So, especially, Repair in the preseason, they were letting him handle the ball a little bit. And maybe you don't want him doing that against the Kings, like in an NBA regular season game. Like, he's probably not ready for that. But, man, I mean, if hopefully another guard doesn't go down, because where do we turn for somebody to handle the ball? Like, is then Ryan Repair handling the ball? I mean, I don't know. Like, you basically don't have many options here. It's not like Mania is a ball handler either. So maybe Repair is a guy they try out, but man, he's just very raw and probably not ready for the moment.
Yeah, and I know they like Mania's hustle and stuff, but man, this is exactly what I'm talking about, though. Like, Mania's not a long-term piece, right? Like, you can find hustle guys if you want like that. But you can't find a 6'6" guy with a 7-foot wingspan that's athletic and can do stuff. So, like, why not throw him onto the court and just see if he can make a play or do something? And I don't really care if he's 4 years away, like Colonel Pancake says. That's probably true, but like what are we doing this season if we're playing Justin Mania over Ryan Rupert? Like, just throw the guy in the game and let him try to figure things out. What happens if it's like Sharp, where you give him more responsibility, or Zach Collins a few years ago, rookie year, we're not expecting him to play at all. He's years away from, he's a project big, and we start playing him right away, and they provide quality minutes, At one point before he started to struggle last season, Sharp was like arguably our best bench player,
Yeah.
Or at least our best bench scorer. So why not just throw Rupert out there and see if he can do something? That's the same thing I was saying about Chris, like maybe he just like something will click in a game and he'll play well. So like I'm glad he at least got a few minutes to try tonight. But I'd much rather lose because Rupert made a mistake or something than lose and give like Justin Minaya and Moses Brown minutes, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Agree. Regarding kind of coaching decisions in this game, I mean, honestly, I don't really have much of a problem with what Chauncey was doing. Like, they played really aggressive on pick and rolls compared to what they've done earlier in the season, and it didn't look too great. The biggest problem is just giving up that pass to the big man. That's something that they have to figure out how to try and deny, because it's that's just every time they've played up at the level of the screen, they've just given that pocket pass. They don't close that window to the rolling big man, and then they don't rotate well enough. So I like that Chauncey was trying it today, and I mean, percentage wise, like, we forced 21 turnovers. You know, like, what's crazy is 21 turnovers. We have 9 fast break points. You know, like how are we not getting out and running a bit more? I guess maybe we don't have a ton of ball handlers, but would love to see us get out and run off 21 turnovers a bit more than we did in this game.
Yeah.
But defensively, like, kind of what were your thoughts on what Chauncey was running?
Well, I do like that they were trying to fight through screens. I did think that with the Kings' struggles without Fox,
Yeah.
I didn't think it was a bad idea. You know, Monk, I don't know what he finished, but at one point he was 0 for 6 from 3, I think, in this game. So, like, going under was fine. The problem our defense has had, and it's the same problem we had with, like, Nurk and Eubanks and Cantor and all these players, like pretty much every center we've had in recent years, it's that when they come up and put pressure on, we do such a poor job of having our next biggest defender, which would be Jeremy, as the rim protector. And a couple times he got matched up with Sabonis. But if he's out top guarding like Davion Mitchell and Sabonis is setting a pick and Ayton's coming up for the pick, that leaves all the guards as the interior defense if Sabonis catches that pass. And that's the same reason, like, everyone thinks, like, Anthony Simon sucks at defense, because he's constantly being tasked with having to guard Sabonis in those situations, you know? And so, like, they have to figure out a way to get one of Ayton or Grant near the basket at all times. They can't have both of them on the perimeter, being that those two aggressive players. So, yeah, I like that they were more aggressive tonight on those, but it can't be with Jeremy and Ayton. Like, that, they have to keep one of those guys in the paint. And I really think that that's an issue, is when you don't have any kind of size or rim protection after the initial action by the offense.
Yeah. Shout out to David Kutsar, $2 donation, said, excited about Tamani, soon defensive All-NBA. I think he's the one player who hasn't made it before that has a chance in the future, because he does a lot of really good things defensively. Kind of maybe could be a bit of a Rocco type defender long term. Like, Rocco was a really good defensive player back in his prime. You know, he's not the same player anymore, but just because he was a really smart team defender, blocked a lot of shots, good feel, a nose for the ball, rotated really quickly, like, recognized things quickly. Tamani has a lot of the same traits, has the length. But I think Tamani could maybe be a little bit more of an on-ball guy than Rocco ever was, so I don't know where his ceiling is defensively, but I do think it is definitely around defensive All-NBA team. Maybe not first team, maybe second team, but he definitely has a chance, in my opinion.
One of his steals was, I was so impressed, because he was the guy getting screened, and he recognized that slip pass to Sabonis and, like, darted in front of it and stole it. And that was just such a smart play. And if you can get players like that who can read offenses and make plays like that, you just mentioned that play was killing us in this game, and he just completely shuts it down by recognizing when the pass is coming and cutting it off. So, yeah, just really smart defensive play. And of course, he's always moving. He's always getting up. Like, a few times, I think he's a little too aggressive. it's a problem with a lot of young defenders who are trying to like come in and show a lot of effort. So I don't think it's like egregious or anything, but yeah, if he just learns to be like more of a solid defender versus like over defending at times, I truly think he can be one of the best defenders in the league.
Yep. Let's see. Jabari Walker, I think, was a complete mixed bag defensively. I thought he had some really good moments. I thought he had a couple plays that were just horrible, like just leaving Malik Monk on the three-point line. I think it was Malik Monk just wide open from three when he was guarding him, just basically backing up to the paint when a screen was coming. There was another one, I forget, but there was also some really good lockdown moments on guards in this game from Jabari. I thought for the most part he moved his feet pretty well, and it was funny because he had a stretch where he had a couple possessions where he like closed out on a guard and stayed in front of them, and then he gets subbed out, Thybulle's in, and Thybulle's first closeout is just awful. It's just awful, and it's like, this is supposed to be our lockdown defensive guy, but
yeah, the Monk goes right around him.
Yeah. So, you know, Thibault 4 steals, right? Like, he'll get some steals, man. That's when he plays good defense, and people look at it after the season and be like, oh, look at Thibault. He averaged 2 steals a game. That's all defensive worthy. Because I feel like sometimes that's what all defensive and defensive reputations are built off of, is just people looking at blocks and steals. Thibault had a solid game. You know, I don't think he was awful defensively, and he did make some plays, and then or awful defensively. I forget if I said offensively or defensively. I don't think he was awful defensively. I think he was okay. He made some plays, had some bad moments here and there.
It's career high free throw attempts for him today.
Is that a career high?
I don't know. It's got to be close, right?
Yeah, he had like 5 free throw attempts, and I think they were all in the first half. Like getting to the free throw line, driving 4 for 8 from the field and 1 for 4 from 3, which means he had 3 buckets off drives. That might be more than he had combined all season up until this point off of drives. So, you know, it was about as much as you can expect out of Thibault, who played a season high 34 minutes today. They're gonna need his freaking offense, bro. That's how much we're in a tough spot. Like, where do we turn for offense beyond Grant and Ayton? If Brogdon's out, Grant, Ayton, and Sharp are like our 3 guys, and then what? Who's our 4th option?
Just
Skylar Mays, like, probably, you know.
If Sharp 50 shot attempts a game.
Yeah, Sharp in this game, 40 minutes, 14 shot attempts. I'll say, I mean, I wanted him to shoot, 18, 19, 20 times. I wanted him to attack the rim. I thought there was a couple times where he should try and dunk on somebody, and he was going up soft. And then I did the watch party with Crushables for this game. After I said that, I was telling him, I was like, man, I just wish Sharp would go up and try and dunk on people instead of trying to just beat him to the backboard and getting his shot blocked. Right after that, he throws down a dunk on a drive, and then a couple minutes later tries to end Alex Len's life.
And got fouled, too.
And got fouled, and they didn't call it. I thought the refs were pretty pathetic in this game, especially in the overtime. My goodness, there's a few plays where it's like, how is that not a foul call? Kamara getting a defender to jump on his back, and it's a no call. Ayton getting blatantly fouled on a mid-range no call. Like, I thought there's some horrible calls or missed calls in the Kings' favor in this game. But as far as Sharp goes, like, I don't think this was a good game from him offensively. I mean, he's 5 for 14, 1 for 5 from 3. Like, didn't shoot the 3 ball well. Had a few drives where he was just like not reading the defense correctly. Like, there was times where I thought he should go to the floater or go to the mid-range pull-up, and he was trying to drive into the defense, and it just wasn't there, and he wasn't, scoring because of it. And it's like, for a guy like him, if he's going to go at a packed paint, if he's going to go at a shot blocker, I want him to go to dunk on him. I don't want him going to try and scoop the ball past him if the defender's at the rim. There's times for those scoop shots, and that's when you're beating him off the dribble and he's kind of on your back a little bit. Sharp had a good inside hand finish in this game doing that. I just think there were times where he was driving into traffic and wasn't driving strong enough. There was times where he just lost his footing a lot in this game too. I recall like 3 or 4 times where he just kind of fell down. One of them he got the foul call on, which I thought was a ticky-tack call in our favor for once. But Yeah, Sharp's had better games than this. It hurts in an overtime loss. If he could have just been a little bit better, we win this game. But, you can always nitpick things in a close game. Like, I don't think it was terrible. I just think at this point, we can expect more from him than a game like this, which is nice.
The most impressive play by him tonight was the lob to Ayton off the pick and roll. That was a sweet play, a sweet read, perfect pass into traffic too. So yeah, I was really happy that he threw that pass, and maybe that's how he can, like, because defenses are going to start collapsing on him if they think he's just trying to get downhill, and he's becoming a little predictable when he gets the ball coming around, like what he's going to do with it. Mm-hmm. Like, he's always, if he's going to his right on the right side of the hoop, he almost always tries to lay it up on the right with the right hand.
Yeah.
So like he hardly ever comes back to the left. So if he's not going to make an adjustment there, I think maybe using some of that passing ability to make the defense hesitate a little bit about collapsing on him is the way to go. So more of that, I think, would be nice. But yeah, we just got to find a way to get this guy shots, man. He should be averaging at least 20 shots a game right now, and I don't think there's any excuse for that now that Brogdon's probably going to be out a while. Like, get this man at least 20 shots a game and just keep feeding him the ball.
Yeah. He still could get a little bit more creative off the dribble. The one thing I like about that lob, too, is Ayton on a previous play was telling him to lob it, and Sharp, listened on a play a few possessions later, so you love to see that. But, like, Sharp still has room to grow as a ball handler. Sharp still has room to grow with just, like, his shiftiness and change of pace, and I'm not saying he's bad at that necessarily. It's just, like, he's made so much progress in that it's hard to I feel like it's kind of hard to recognize that there's still progress to be made, and he's not like great in those areas yet. The thing is, he's so athletic and can shoot and seems to have a good feel for the game. That's why he's a good offensive player. That's why he's able to average 20 a game and get to the free throw line and that sort of thing, and his reads have improved, but there's still work to be done. Like, he was ball handling wise for a guard, he was awful coming into the league a year ago. He was awful. He was not somebody you could trust to ever really put the ball on the floor.
Yeah.
He'd have an impressive moment here or there, but I remember early on last season where there was times where he just like try and break down a guy with his dribble and accidentally like dribble it to the defender. There were some really bad ball handling moments. And there was one where he was bringing the ball up where he messed up his dribble, got the ball stolen at half court. And I think, some of his drives are just like really hard to the right hand, where he could get a little better at being shifty and a little bit more unpredictable off the drive. But I mean, basically that's the type of stuff that'll take his game from like right now a 20 point per game score to a 25 or 30 point per game score. That's the best players in the league are really hard to predict, and can get to spots that they love at will because they're not just set on like one move or one sort of drive or one sort of finish, right? There's a bunch of different things that they resort to, and they basically just read their defender and can shift their defender and then take what their defender gives them. And I think Sharp is still learning that area of the game, which is to be expected. He's 20 freaking years old. He's going to be 21 after the season, you know what I mean? And it's like, I'm giving him a ton of credit for the growth he's already made in that area for sure, because he's made immense growth as a shot creator, as a ball handler, as somebody that can attack off the dribble. But there is still a lot more growth to be recognized, and that's kind of the fun part with him, is that's where he's just scratching the surface with some of his improvement, in my opinion. He still has, a super high ceiling where if he can figure that stuff out in the next 4 to 5 years, I mean, just look at what he's figured out in the past year. If he can figure it out in the next 4 to 5 years, like, he's going to be an absolute star, maybe a superstar, maybe a top 5 to 8 player in this league. Like, he has that sort of upside, that, Devin Booker upside with more athleticism. So that's where Sharp excites me. There's still some room to improve, and he's going to have some growing pains still. And I thought tonight had a couple of growing pains in that regard, but it comes with the process,
Yeah, I think, Booker is a good person to study for him but that's more like mid-range and and getting his shots that way. But someone he should really look at film on is because you mentioned getting to their spots and doing it in different ways. Man, SGA is like unstoppable. Like he can just wherever he wants to get to, he can get there. And so whatever he's doing to do that, like Sharp needs to like pattern his game off there because I don't think like SGA is like crazy. Like he doesn't have any like crazy ability that's not duplicative. So like I don't know, like just find a way to like. I mean, he had what 7 free throws in the first half, and yeah. So if you extrapolate that over to a full game and you get to line 10 plus times, 14 times a game, that's like elite level players. I think Dame usually got to the line about 10 times a game or so. So yeah, just yeah, he needs to, as Davis says, do his study SGA homework. But yeah, just like as Elizabeth Allen says, SGA's deceleration is elite. Yeah, it's just changing of speeds. Like you don't have to always go 100% when you're going downhill. Sometimes slowing it gets the defender to bump you from behind, and things like that. And so you just got to learn different things. And then on defense, you're muted. Sorry.
Yeah, no, go on.
On defense, I mean, you can't reach in on a 3-point shot. I mean, like I know he didn't touch him, like, but you have 4 fouls already. That was your 5th foul, and then you like I don't blame him for trying to take that charge there, but if that's your 5th foul instead of your 6th, this might be a different game. If he's in the game for overtime, so you just cannot get a foul in that situation. That probably cost us the game too, because if they don't get a free 3 points, like Malik couldn't hit a 3 this game. You especially don't want to reach on a player that's struggling that bad to hit a shot.
We had some really bad fouls. Fouled Keon Ellis on a 3-point jumper. Like, what the hell are we doing there? I think that was Jabari. Like, that was one of Jabari's really bad moments. Like, Jabari was just completely a mixed bag on defense. Sharp also had a play where he reached in. I think it was on Sabonis, who Ayton had walled off in the middle of the paint with like 3 on the shot clock, and Sharp reaches in and commits a foul like that. That's where this game was frustrating, where it's like you applaud their effort being shorthanded, but man, we just had like 3 or 4 2-minute stretches where we just played, frankly, dumb basketball. Like there was a stretch where like Skylar Mays shot a really bad contested pull-up jumper off the side of the backboard from the baseline, and I think that was right after one of those bad fouls that we committed. And it's just like this game was super strange in terms of some of the runs, where I know the NBA is a game of runs, but normally it's like a game of runs because the team gets hot and makes some threes while the other team misses some threes, with how 3-point heavy the NBA is nowadays. With Portland tonight, it was like they would just forget how to play competent basketball for like a 2-minute stretch, and there was like three of those stretches it felt like this game. And I was pointed out to on the watch party to Crush, where man, it's just like sometimes this team seems to lose its head a little bit, and a lot of times it feels like it's after a timeout, where like if they're in the rhythm of things, like they're pretty solid, but like if the game becomes a little disconjointed, like they'll become disconjointed. So I just feel like there's these stretches where we aren't mentally smart enough, and I don't know why that is, but gotta improve, because that definitely lost us this game too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's when you make bad fouls, you can't get defensive rebounds, and then you're turning the ball over, getting bad shots in clutch. That's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah. 39 free throws for the Kings. Like, hard to win shorthanded, giving up 39 free throws. And, or no, not 39, 38. My bad. It's not as bad as 39. It's 38 free throws.
So bad.
Yeah. We got lucky they missed some, They shoot 73.7%, 28 for 38. But you give up 38 free throws and 15 offensive rebounds, and you're shorthanded like the Blazers are. I mean, it's kind of a miracle this game even went into overtime and was winnable late.
Hmm. I mean, that's a large part due to Jeremy Grant. He was phenomenal. Obviously, his best game of the season. Um, I
He
mean,
was different today.
he took a lot of jumpers, but he was also he made some nice passes too.
That lob to Ayton on the fast break where Grant rips down the board, pushes the pace, and then throws a lob in transition.
Yeah,
Like, what the hell?
and we also so he had some nice kickouts to the corner. So yeah, I don't know. I still don't like there was a time like in the first quarter where we brought it up and just posted him and cleared the side of the court and just let him go to work. I don't really like those kind of plays, but for the most part, I felt like he took a lot of tough shots, but like with our lineups out there, he kind of had to. But it wasn't like we were forcing him to do it, or it was like dribble, dribble, dribble. It was mostly just like one dribble pull up type shots, and I'm fine with that from him.
Yeah, the one thing he needs to get better at is like there's just times where he drives into traffic in the paint and jumps without a plan and like ends up kind of throwing the ball at the rim because he gets stuck and it's just like not even close. That's an area he has to get better. That's an area where he has to make that kick out pass or wait. You know, if it's with 3 on the clock, I get it. If it's on 10 or 12 on the clock, like kick the ball out before you get stuck. Like if the paint is that packed, you need to be able to read it, kick the ball out, relocate, right? You might get the ball back. I just feel like he has this attitude which can sometimes pay off, but sometimes it's bad where he just says, screw it, I'm going downhill and I'm getting to the rim no matter what. And if I don't, oh well. It's today there was some better moments where like he drove and the paint was packed and he had a kick out pass. The lob to Ayton was beautiful. And it's like that we need to see more of that. I thought he played with more purpose tonight, especially on the boards. Like this was the best rebounding game I've maybe ever seen from him in a Blazer uniform. Like there was somewhere he was just going up getting the ball at times in a game where we couldn't defensive rebound for anything. And, you know, was pushing the pace in transition. Just felt like he was playing with a little bit more conviction without it being more out of control, which was nice to see. Like, I can handle a few out of control possessions if he's consistently trying to attack the rim, has to shoot a bunch of shots because of how shorthanded we are, and he's getting it done rebounding wise. And like, it's more understandable for him to have a play where he forces and makes a mistake in that sort of scenario than if he's not doing all of that. So overall, like, felt like he brought more attitude to this game than a normal Jeremy Grant game. So I was very happy with him. Of course, it's a little bit easier to do so when you're just on fire from 3 in the mid-range, which he was to start the game. You know, he started 2 for 3 on mid-ranges early on, and then started 5 for 6 from 3. And I think it was 5. Yeah, he was 5 for 6 from 3 before those final 2 very tough threes on the final possession. So it was nice to see him knock down shots. He hasn't shot the greatest 3-ball this year. Today was more of the Jeremy Grant we saw to start last season where like every jumper would go in for him. And it's just like, man, what if we had him shooting like this, shooting like he did to start last year, because at some point you would expect his slump to turn into a hot stretch. I just want to see him have a hot stretch with Scoot, with Ant, with Brogdon, and see what that looks like, because we got some offensive talent. The problem is we don't got enough shooting. But if Grant's shooting like this, it's very hard to guard, especially if you got those shot creators.
Also, get that trade value up.
Yeah, that too. You know, like, screw it. If everybody's out, I hope he averages 30 a game then, you know, efficiently enough where we can get back a couple of first-round picks, because teams are looking at him like, how is this guy not on a max contract? Whereas at the start of the season, it was like, man, this contract looks awful. So looks a little better when he has the game he does tonight, for sure.
Well, I was thinking about that tonight. Like, would a team like the Kings overpay for him because of like what he did to them tonight? Like they're like, wow, we could use that kind of player, someone who could score 38 points, and we had to like completely alter our defense to try and stop tonight.
Especially if Keegan keeps struggling like he has been this year. He's been awful, Eric.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I don't think we want to trade for Keegan, but
no,
it's just
I just
talking
mean
to
like,
chat. No, I was talking to
yeah,
chat.
yeah.
But and I don't even know what the Kings would give up for him. But the more teams that are interested in him, the higher the bidding could go. You know.
Yeah.
I think once again we talked about this with Robert Williams. You know, like you you're risking a lot by keeping a team together and going for it and like trying to win with these veterans. Now Jeremy Grant hasn't been injury prone like Brogdon and Robert Williams have, but like I don't know. At some point, you just probably have to maximize the value of these players. So I think if that's this season, you got to just pull the trigger and not risk him having the struggles or not ever duplicating that again or being 32 and maybe on the downside of his career in a couple of years and his contract looking like a negative. So I think you got to take advantage of this, and these injuries have proven why that's important.
Yep, absolutely. Anything else specifically you want to talk from this game before we go around the NBA?
No, I think we pretty much covered everything.
Yep. This will be a shorter stream today. Let's just go around the NBA because there's a lot of games, interesting games at that. Wizards beat the Hornets 132-116. Kyle Kuzma, 33 points for him. Jordan Poole was awful, 3 for 12, only 11 points, but the Wizards still put 132 on the board. They had DeLon Wright, 18 points. Landry Shamet in 17 minutes, 15 points. He was hurt to start the year, but he's back now. Corey Kispert, Gonzaga legend, 12 points. Danilo Gallinari. Was this his first game? I feel like I haven't seen his name.
No, he's been playing this year.
He was 7 for 11, 4 for 7 from 3.
The reason why I know that is because I was surprised they were actually playing him. I thought they just traded him for his contract, to match salary. And they weren't going to play him over some of their younger guys, but I was like, wow, they're actually playing him.
Landry Shamet postered LaMelo Ball in this game. And speaking of posters, Eric, did you see the Trendon Watford poster on PJ Tucker?
I saw some Trendon highlights. I don't think I saw a poster, though.
They called it a charge, and then I think it got overturned. I think it got challenged or something.
Nice.
I don't know. But Trendon had a poster today. And in this game, 19 minutes, 9 points, 5 rebounds, 3 steals, 2 assists for Trendon Watford as the Nets beat the Clippers. So the Clippers with James Harden, not looking so hot so far. But as far as Trendon goes, man, like, seeing some of the plays he made today, it's like, wouldn't it be nice with all these guards injured and our backup center injured to have a backup center that can play some, like, point center?
Make some plays, yeah.
Yeah. Like, I don't think Trendon's ever going to be a guy that is like the 7th or 6th man on a contending team necessarily, but he's the type of guy where it's like he's a really good insurance policy and a really good, like, fringe rotation guy because he provides some uniqueness and because he provides, like, some creation at a big man spot so that if you have guards that are out, you can go a little bigger but still keep some of the creation and fill in for that with a guy like Watford. So looking at our roster situation, like, it would have been perfect to have him right now. But instead, we cut him for no freaking reason.
You mean have him instead of Moses? You would have liked that?
Oh, man. I'd rather have Trendon shoot from half court than watch another Moses free throw, man. No offense to Moses, but, man, that form is just bad.
Outside the free throw shooting, he wasn't terrible in his minutes tonight, thankfully, but yeah.
But his form on the free throws is just something to behold. I don't understand.
You weren't widely criticized, Colonel Pancakes. Everyone universally wondered why they cut Watford. Like, we still don't know what the reasoning was behind that, because it's not like it saved them a ton of money. He was on a minimum contract.
Well, he was probably widely criticized by the Cronin stands out there that think everything that Cronin does is genius.
Maybe.
So, it probably wasn't our community, right? Like, we're not a bunch of Cronin stands over here that worship everything he does. Because, yeah, I didn't really understand that. And he's never really provided much of an explanation for that. As Taylor Packer says, as Tori calls them, the cronies. Yes, the cronies.
I
Colonel
prefer
Pancake says,
cronuts.
ton of Cronin stands on Twitter. Bro, yeah. Trust me. Trust me, we know, man. It's brutal. It's brutal. They will not watch us because we are not Cronin stands. So that's fine. We will just hang out over here and not give you crap for wondering why the Blazers randomly cut Trendon Watford and then replaced him with Moses freaking Brown.
Yeah.
Because it's definitely reasonable to question that. And, Trendon didn't have a perfect game today, but man, that skill set would be nice to have right now with the lack of creation.
I mean, we did new defense, and obviously wasn't working great with him at center last year. Like, he had to play. But this is once again why I always say, and you say it too, we need a competent third center. Like, that's with Robert Williams or Nurkic in the past, you need a third center. Like, it's like no more Moses Brown, no more Trendon as a center, no Jabari as your third center. Like, you need an actual center, man. Like, I don't understand.
Yeah, Trendon's been playing the 4 for Brooklyn, it seems.
But,
although Brooklyn, who is their starting center?
Well, it's usually Claxton, but he's been hurt.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just looking at this box score. Like, yeah, it is. I'm blanking on Claxton. I'm looking at this box score. They started.
Sharp.
They didn't even start Sharp. They started Dinwiddie, Cam Thomas, Mikal Bridges, Royce O'Neal, and Dorian Finney-Smith.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I don't know. Just basically 5 out, which they got away with it.
Mm-hmm.
The Clippers had 11 offensive rebounds, but the Nets had 14. And 3 of them were from Finney-Smith. 3 of them were from Royce O'Neal. So, like, as long as you got guys that can keep the offensive rebound battle even, you can go as small as you want. Like, if the other team doesn't have a center that would punish you, like, if they're playing against Jokic, they can't get away with it. But when you're going against the Clippers and you're going against Zubac, I mean, we, with DeAndre Ayton and Robert Williams III on opening night, made Ivica Zubac look much better in that game than he looked tonight going up against Finney-Smith, I guess, was their center. Zubac had 10 points, 10 boards, 5 for 9. Far cry from the 20 and 12 he dropped on us on opening night. So, as far as the Clippers go, Westbrook 6 for 18. Harden in 36 minutes, 4 for 9, 12 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, and 5 turnovers. I guess that's what they brought in Harden for? 9 shots a game?
It's hard, though, adding a player like Harden that's such a different and unique player, like in the middle of the season where you don't have training camp or anything to integrate. Yeah. So that's going to be, I think, at least a couple-week process to try and figure out how that's going to work.
That team has big names, man, but you got Westbrook and Harden past their prime. PG and Kawhi are always hurt. Like, I just don't see this working out for the Clippers, man. Like, I think their window is closed. I think it would have made more sense. I mean, they don't have their future picks. They're kind of stuck. Like, they kind of just got to let it ride with this unit, but I don't know, man. Like, I can't blame them for making the Harden trade at all, but I
think Harden is pretty much as good as they could have gotten. They need big names. And
in the end, though, it's not going to come down to how Harden plays, I don't think. It's going to come down to whether PG and Kawhi are healthy.
Yeah, of course.
And their defense.
Harden taking some of the pressure off those guys, I think, can allow them to maybe stay healthier.
Yeah, I don't know. Harden declined a bit last year. If he's still declining, he's getting up there in age, like, I'm not sure how much more he can take the pressure off those guys than, say, a Norman Powell. He's better than Norman Powell still, in my opinion, but I don't know how long that'll last because he's declining.
Well, I mean, despite being a no-show in a couple playoff games, he did win the Sixers a couple playoff games too, so like he could still step up sometimes when it matters.
Last year. We'll see if he can do it this year because he's definitely declining. So I just don't know how much he has left in the tank, especially at the end of the season. I think it's more so hopeful that when PG and Kawhi inevitably miss some time, he'll step up and kind of carry some of that offensive load. I just wonder in the playoffs how much of a help he truly is.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, I understand the trade. Like, I would have done the trade if I was the Clippers. If you're talking about the Clippers as contenders, I can't really get on board with that. There's just so much that can go wrong for them that I don't see it going right. And they lose today to the Brooklyn Nets. They score 93 points with Harden, with Kawhi, with PG all playing against a team with no center. So it's pretty rough. I wish they could have done that to us on opening night. The Pacers beat the Jazz 134-118. Last game, the Pacers had 152 points. In this game, they have 134, Eric. They are 5-3. Their offense looks like, dare I say it, the Sacramento Kings offense from last year, where the Kings were the best offensive team last year, and were the 3 seed because of it. Is there a chance that the Pacers are the Kings from last year because their offense is just unstoppable?
I mean, there's a chance, I guess. I have a hard time seeing them sustain it, especially when they play like a bunch of good teams in the East. But yeah, I mean, anytime you got Halliburton running the show, he's obviously the type of guard that can be, the main guy who makes that offense tick. And yeah, I think they can score a lot. It's still going to be interesting if they move Hield, though, or what they do with that contract, because they didn't sign an extension or anything. So there still might have some changes that, you never know what their roster will look like after that.
Yeah, but just looking at their lineup right now, their 9-man lineup, they have, in my opinion, the best offensive bench in the league, because Buddy Hield is one of the best 6 men. Andrew Nembhard is absolutely legitimate. He proved it last year. He had 9.7 assists in 19 minutes today. Was 4 for 4 from the field, 1 for 1 from 3, 0 turnovers. Like, is that a perfect game? Like, that's as perfect as you can get from your backup point guard. Like, doesn't really make mistakes, knocks down shots. He struggled a little bit with his shooting percentage this year, but Nembhard is legit. You got Neesmith, who's turned into a stud. Your guy, Eric, had 24 today, 9 for 13 shooting in 30 minutes. And then they got Jalen Smith, who is looking revitalized and has been shooting the ball great. They got all 9 of their rotation players can shoot threes. Some of them are a little inconsistent, like an Obi Toppin and Jalen Smith, but like they'll shoot them, and occasionally they'll knock them down for stretches. So, and then you got maybe the best passing point guard in the league with Benedict Mathurin. Like, it's just Bruce Brown for defense. I love their team. I love their construction. Like, that's a team to watch out for at the deadline, because I think they look legitimate offensively right now. It's a Utah Jazz team that's not all that great, but very impressive.
Jarvis Walker can't even get on the court.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. What else is crazy is the best team in the East, Eric, might not be the Celtics or the Bucks. It might be the Philadelphia 76ers, because they're 6-1. Nick Nurse has come in and noticeably improved that team. Like, he's a noticeable improvement over Doc Rivers as coach, it seems like.
Nurse is so underrated.
He's definitely a top 3 coach in the league, in my opinion. That was a phenomenal hire for the Sixers. And despite moving on from Harden, you got Tyrese Maxey, who's an all-star this year, in my opinion. Joel Embiid's still playing great. Kelly Oubre's revitalized. They're playing some good defense. They beat the Celtics 106-103 today to move to 6-1. 6-1 for the Sixers. Now, 5 of their 7 games have been at home, but still, they beat the Celtics, who have lost 2 in a row after starting 5-0. And you got some role players off the bench. You got guys that play some defense, play their roles. You got Pat Bev, Robert Covington, Nick Batum, Hog Media legend Paul Reed. You got some guys that will play some defense, play their role the right way, and will buy into their roles with a coach that knows how to basically put a cohesive 5-man unit on the floor and have them playing the right way. So Nick Nurse, I think, right now is the early front runner for Coach of the Year.
Yeah, and Maxey just looks. I mean, I know he didn't shoot the ball great today, but man, that guy looks like a star.
Yeah, he's a star. He's averaging after this game, I believe it is, like 25-7.
Mm-hmm.
Officially, he's like 44% from three and 50% from the field and 93% from the free throw line.
Yep, and I saw Keith Smith had his projections for cap space next summer. By the way, the Blazers he put them in the sneaky category to be fighting the tax and not have any of their MLEs and stuff. And
yeah, we're going to be in the tax without Dame. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, he said they absolutely wouldn't be in the tax, but it's going to affect all their moves they make this year and next year because they don't want to push into the tax, and they're really close to it. But anyways, for teams that had cap space, there was 3 of them for sure, and one of them was the 76ers with almost $40 million in cap space projected.
To add to this team, bro?
Yeah.
Did they finally figure it out by losing all their stars?
Maybe. The thing though that they could do though is they now have, because they had like no assets to trade, especially since they weren't trading Maxey. But now they have like 3 firsts they can trade, I think, and they have some expiring. It's like a Marcus Morris expiring or whatever. So I was thinking today, like they if Indiana does trade Buddy Hield, like that might be a guy they could target with Marcus Morris's contract and one of their firsts or something. But they might be able to find a player like that can help them out this year and put them over the top.
Yeah, I don't even know if they need to go after that type of player. I think they can just hold out for a star. Like, they look legitimate as it is. They got enough scoring. Like, defensively, got a lot of dudes that play their role. It depends on if Kelly Oubre can keep this up, because he's been great for them as that third scorer, basically, with Tobias being the 4th guy there. So we'll see if Kelly Oubre can keep it up. If he starts to struggle, which he has been an inconsistent player in his career, if he starts to struggle, then who knows? But if there's a coach that's going to get the most out of a Kelly Oubre, like, I feel like Nick Nurse is a great guy for that, where Nick Nurse can get Kelly Oubre playing an optimal style of ball. So, I mean, with that cap space next year, there's a ton of great free agents. I mean, what free agent wouldn't want to go there if they like make the conference finals and lose in a close series, and you can go there and be the guy that takes them over the top? Like, if I'm, I think Paul George is a free agent, Kawhi is a free agent. If the Clippers situation blows up, like, I'm looking over there like, wow, imagine Kawhi there with Maxey and Embiid.
Signed both of them.
So Kawhi, maybe he wants to play for Nick Nurse again. Like, I think they're going big game hunting, and they're in a position where they're probably contenders right now, the way it looks like. They've been playing great. So shout out to them.
What if they signed James Harden?
What if this is all the master plan? I mean, they're better without Harden, because Tyrese Maxey needs to be the lead guard.
Yeah, I agree, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, Tyrese Maxey, that draft pick saved the Embiid era in Philly. That draft, and he was taken 21st. He was slept on in that draft massively. Maxey was. That pick saved the Embiid era in Philly, and then Nick Nurse hiring was the best coaching hire in years, in my opinion. I don't know anything that rivals against that, because he was such a clear upgrade over Doc Rivers. So shout out to the Sixers, looking good right now. Love to see it. Shout out to the Phoenix Suns and former Blazer Yusuf Nurkic, who hit a game-winning layup with 7 seconds left to lead the Suns over the Bulls 116-115 in overtime. Nurkic, 20 points, 17 rebounds, including 8 offensive boards, as well as 8 assists, almost a triple-double for the Bosnian Beast, including the clutch game winner. Love to see Nurk having a good game after Phoenix Suns fans were turning on him because he struggled to start his tenure there. This was Bradley Beal's first game. He was only 3 for 12 in 24 minutes, 13 points. Grayson Allen was the leading scorer with 26 points, 8 for 13 from 3. Kevin Durant had 25. Booker missed this game, but the Suns get the win.
Yeah, they definitely needed that win.
The Bulls continued to be directionless. They're 3-6 now. When will they blow it up? Will they finally do the right thing and blow it up this year?
They're still going to be delusional.
God, that team drives me crazy. The Knicks beat the Spurs 126-105. The Knicks moved to 4-4. The Spurs fall to 3-5. Wemby's been pretty good defensively, but the Spurs defense as a whole, I mean, Wemby can't carry it. It seems like, because they just have struggled on the defensive side of things, even though they're starting Sohan and Zach Collins. Kind of strange. They don't have a lot of good defenders off the bench, though, with like McDermott, Shetty Osman. Devin Vassell, I think, was hurt and is coming back from an injury. He only played in 12 minutes in this game, which I thought was kind of weird. Wemby had a quiet game, 4 for 14, 0 for 4 from 3, 14 points for him for the Knicks. 25 from Brunson, 24 from Barrett, 23 from Randall, and 19 off the bench from Emmanuel Quickley, who is averaging 15 a game so far this year in the Sixth Man of the Year race. That was going to go to Brogdon, I think, but then, Brogdon had to start, and then Brogdon got hurt, so it's an open Sixth Man of the Year race.
Yeah.
The Rockets, Eric, are 4-3. They've won 3 games in a row, and they've all been blowouts. They blew out the... Oh, it's 4 in a row. They started 0-3. They blew out the Lakers. The Lakers didn't have AD, but they had LeBron.
Yeah.
They had most of their role guys, but the Rockets 128-94 win. Jalen Green, 11 for 15, 5 for 6 from 3, 28 points. Rare, efficient game from him. 19 from Sengun, 12 from Jabari Smith. Just kind of an all-around effort from them, though. They played 6 guys off the bench, 11 minutes or more. So, there was some garbage time, but not 11 minutes of it. They were playing 11 guys in the rotation right now. You got some interesting guys off the bench. Reggie Bullock, Jayshawn Tate, Tari Eason, Jeff Green, Aaron Holiday. They played 23 minutes. Jacques Landale. So, who knows? Maybe the Rockets are this year's OKC Thunder. Maybe the the Dillon Brooks and Fred VanVleet stuff worked out. I mean, those guys combined to shoot 4 for 15 today, and they still blew them out.
Mm-hmm.
So, interesting stuff there. LeBron, 18 points, 6 rebounds for him. Rui led the day, 24 off the bench, 10 for 14. Man, Gonzaga Bulldogs have been playing really good lately. Sabonis today, Rui today. Corey Kispert had 12 off the bench for the Wizards today. Like, that was solid. Strother yesterday went off. Or no, it was Monday. Strother went off on Monday, had 21.
Mm-hmm.
My guy's playing good. The Bucks beat the Pistons 120-118. Giannis got ejected from this game for taunting. It was a second technical. It was very controversial. He only played 22 minutes. Dame, Eric, did you watch this game at all? Did you see any of this game?
Yeah, I saw. Well, it was kind of hard once the Blazer game started to focus too much, but I was trying to watch on my phone while watching the start of the Blazer game. But yeah.
Yeah. Dame, 10 for 25, 34 points. Finally had an aggressive game. So good to see Dame have a 30-piece. For the Pistons, Cade Cunningham, 33 points. He's looked like a star early on. And Marcus Sasser off the bench, 26 points.
Dude, Marcus Sasser was so good in this game.
Yeah.
He's been really good overall.
Yeah. On Sunday against the Suns, had 22. Had a game where he struggled. On Monday against the Warriors, he's a rookie. He's going to have games where he struggles. But then Milwaukee, 26. So 2 of his last 3 games against good teams has had really good performances. I mean, he just... The veteran rookie point guard, you know what I mean? Like, he was around the block with Houston, and that team was good last year. Got to play in some meaningful action. I didn't expect Marcus Sasser to look like the best rookie out of the University of Houston so far this year, but Jarris Walker isn't playing, so.
Well, opportunity is different, but I mean, that's what I was saying during the draft. I thought he could immediately come in and be a high-level backup point guard, and he's shown that so far. Good to see him.
The Pelicans started hot. They are on a losing streak. Minnesota beats them 122-101. The Pelicans, the injury bug has bit them like it's bit the Blazers. CJ is out with a collapsed lung. Zion missed this game. Brandon Ingram couldn't carry him, 24 points, 11 for 25. Jordan Hawkins is starting. Dyson Daniels started today. Jeremiah Robinson-Earl started today. They're playing Cody Zeller is on their team, apparently. I did not know that.
We wave Zeller?
Yeah, we waved Zeller, I guess. Terrion Sebron was playing. Man, they are hurting there in New Orleans for the Timberwolves. They're 5-2. They had 26 from Anthony Edwards. They just beat the Celtics too. Maybe the Timberwolves are finally legitimate. But they always get off to hot starts and then struggle, it feels like. So maybe this is another one of those. Thunder beat the Cavs 128-120. SGA, 43-point performance. Chet Holmgren, 7 for 10. 3 blocks, 15.7 boards. Good performance for him. Casey Wallace, 14 off the bench in 24 minutes. He's been solid for the Thunder, playing in rotational minutes for them. The Cavs are 3-5. Donovan Mitchell wasn't efficient in this game. Are the Cavs kind of stuck? Like, Donovan Mitchell's going to be a free agent. They're 3-5 to start the year. They don't look too good.
I don't think they're stuck. I think
They don't have any of their future firsts.
yeah, I think they're fine. They'll get it figured out.
Yeah. We'll see, though, because if they don't, you have to entertain the idea of trading Donovan Mitchell with a deadline.
Oh,
maybe.
yeah. If you think he's going to leave, you have to trade him. Yeah, we talked about that on Hoops Crush today. Really hope that's not the case because I kind of want to see this play out for longer than 2 seasons with Donovan Mitchell there.
Yeah. He's not the best start, though. Like, maybe their rebuild got cut a little short because they overachieved for a season, then traded for Mitchell. You know, they made the playoffs last year, but lost in the first round of the Knicks. So it's going to be interesting to see where the Cavs go and how the Mitchell thing plays out. I could see that there being a lot of noise around that if they continue to struggle as the deadline creeps up. The Raptors beat the Mavericks 127-116. The Mavericks 6-2 on the year. Raptors moved to 4-4. Pascal Siakam finally had a good game, 31 points, 12 rebounds. His numbers had been down.
For the record, Mitchell has 1 more year on his contract after this one.
I thought he was a free agent this offseason.
No.
Why is there all this talk about him leaving?
Well, he won't sign an extension.
Okay. Well, I think you could still hear some talk around that.
Yeah.
If he won't sign that extension. Could put him in a tough spot. The Nuggets beat the Warriors, which is good because we're rooting for the Warriors to lose, so their picks are better. Jokic, 35 points, 13 rebounds. Julian Strother barely played in this game after going off last game. It sounds like Jamal Murray's going to miss a lot of time. Going to miss 3 to 4 weeks. But Reggie Jackson started for him, and he had a good game today, 20 points. This is one of those years where, like, Reggie Jackson is good again, and then next year he'll suck again. And it's just a continuous roller coaster from season to season for him. Like, I wonder how much of his core, how much of it is like he has a good season, so he doesn't work as much in the offseason, so then he struggles. So then the following offseason, he works hard in the offseason, and then he gets good again.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's a thing for him, because he is very inconsistent from season to season. And that wraps up all the... Oh, no, you had the Heat beat the Grizzlies 108-102. Grizzlies still only 1 win on the year. It's against the Blazers. Bam Adebayo had 30 points. Jimmy Butler, 15. Tyler Hero only played 8 minutes, so he actually left with an injury. Yeah, I was looking at 6 points, but only 8 minutes played for him.
I think they said he's going to be out a while, too.
Yeah, injury bug bites him again. The Heat moved to 4-4 though, and that is around the NBA. I will have graphics someday for this that is all coded, and that will be nice. But the Blazers right now, 13th place in the West, tied with the Spurs and the Lakers. They are 1 game behind the 7th place Phoenix Suns. 4.5 games back out of the first place Denver Nuggets. So, you know, if you want a standings watch, I mean, if we win this game, we're tied for 7th.
Yeah.
So.
That again. We're like so close to being right there, but so far away.
Yeah. I mean, that's not really as much of a thing this year. But coming up on Sunday, the Blazers play the Lakers, who have been struggling. We'll see if AD plays in that game. That'll be on the road. We'll see who's healthy for the Blazers in that game. No idea how to preview that game. That's why I'll drop a video closer to the game. And then after that, on Tuesday, we play the Jazz, Eric. Play the Jazz on the road. Second in-season tournament game. Let's just be 2-0 in the in-season tournament. Like, screw our regular record. Let's just be 2-0 in the in-season tournament.
Just win the in-season tournament,
Yeah, facts. So, the Blazers, in a stretch where they have a lot of road games in their next... Let's see. In their next 13 games, 9 of them are on the road, only 4 at home. But then after that, they have like an insane amount of home games over the rest of the December. They have a 5-game homestand, 1 road game, then a 4-game homestand. So you will get some home games. It's very road heavy to start the season for the Blazers. There's also a very home heavy stretch after the All-Star break, or like in February and March.
Yeah.
So that'll be nice. The Heat game is still listed as TNT. We'll see if that remains. Probably not. I wouldn't be surprised if the Bucks game gets. Oh, the Bucks game's on ESPN now. Okay, so they flexed the Bucks game to ESPN. I don't know how old of news that is, but that's news to me. So January 31st, Dame returns to Portland. Looking forward to that. The Blazers actually play the Bucks coming up in a couple weeks. Anyway, that's around the NBA. Chat, any questions before we wrap it up? We'll take questions if you have any, and then we'll wrap things up. We'll be live again tomorrow on our second channel, Blazers Uprise Podcast. Link in the description box below. We'll go live around 3:30. There's only 2 games for picks against the spread tomorrow. So we can talk more Blazers. We can take more questions if you guys have them. Zach says, interesting anti-tanking idea from the BS pod. What if the draft lottery order was decided by team records after the halfway point of the season? Teams wouldn't have reason to tank in the second half. Like the worst team halfway through the season?
I like it in theory to make it competitive. I don't think tanking is a problem. I don't really care if teams tank or not.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it's much of a problem. Like, a good middle ground would maybe be like the All-Star break. And if you miss the playoffs, then it reverts back to your record at the All-Star break. I don't know. But if you trade a player away around the All-Star break because they want out, shouldn't you be rewarded for being worse after that and get a higher draft pick? Like there's some more questions that come up with it. But I don't really think it's as much of a problem. I think most teams try to stay competitive, Well,
I mean, there's exceptions like last year for Wemby. I don't think there's going to be many teams taking that hard this year. I mean, there will be a few, but
yeah,
not like 10 teams all trying to get Wemby or whatever type bad.
Yeah, 100%.
And really, I mean, the Blazers were the 5th best odds, but their record wasn't like awful last year.
Yeah, they won 33 games, and they did tank really hard the last like 15 games or so, I believe it was.
Yeah.
But it's just 15 games, so I don't think it was really that much of an issue. And here's the thing: this year we might not have to rest anyone to tank, so there's nothing to disincentivize us from if we just suck and everybody's hurt. Zach, I don't think that's much of a problem. Like all NBA teams, I don't really think matter a whole lot unless it gets guys paid more money. Like I don't think it's that big of a deal. Like it probably matters to Dame, but that's a different conversation than tanking. It's more so this organization lying to Dame. Because Dame, I think, was willing to do it if we actually got him help because of it. So that's the bigger issue. And we lost a prime year of Dame last year due to tanking. I don't think we lost the entire year. The year was what it was. Like, even if we tried, we probably weren't making the play-in. Like, that team was a mess. So, like, we were close to home court advantage at the deadline when we blew it up, but Josh Hart, they didn't want to pay him or thought he was going to leave, and the pieces we got back didn't make us any better. If anything, we got worse. So, yeah.
Rich says we're losing another prime year of Dame right now.
We've lost the rest of Dame's prime years, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. It's like finally sunk in that it's just like he's somebody else's, you know what I mean? He's not our guy anymore. Like,
by the way, new Rip City Retro episode, Rich said is dropping right now. So
check it out because we're wrapping up the stream. Anything else, Eric?
Go check out Hoops Crush from today if you didn't as well.
Yeah, you guys got content. Hoops Crush, Rip City Retro, go check it out. Hoops Crush is available on Spotify too, so if you want to listen on the go, that's a great way to do so. And with that being said, that's a wrap for this edition of the Blazers Uprise postgame show. The Blazers lose in overtime to the Sacramento Kings and lose Malcolm Brogdon to a hamstring strain because everybody has to get hurt that's a Portland Trailblazer for some reason. I don't know I don't know what the curse is, but it's definitely a real thing apparently. So the Blazers are cursed yet again. Injury bug bites us yet again, but hopefully we can get Scoot back and have the excitement of watching Scoot Henderson play basketball soon. So the Blazers don't play again until Sunday. We'll have a stream tomorrow, and then nothing until Sunday as the Blazers get some days off, which are good, so they can heal and rest. And we're out of here. We'll catch you tomorrow on that second channel. Until then, as always, peace out. Go Blazers.